Welcome to this latest edition of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, the Real Joe Quinn, recording this podcast on a very, very rare Saturday. Not too often I record on Saturdays, but this week I decided I wanted to push it back a little bit in anticipation of the NBA Finals. Also, a couple of other things happening as well. A lot to get to. But we're going to begin, of course, with the NBA Finals, Game 1 in the books. About time you hear this, Game 2. No, you'll hear this before Game 2 is played. So, yeah, you'll hear this before Game 2 is played. Game 2 is played. Game 2 will be, of course, tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock. I don't know why. I mean, you can begin these on Sundays at 7 o'clock. But anyway, because I remember the time it used to be 9 o'clock during the weekdays. Now they pushed it back to 8:30. But okay. But Game 1 in the books. Celtics have no problem with Dallas completely dominating that game, basically from start to finish. I understand there was some nervous times in the third quarter for Celtics fans once the Mavericks cut it to 8. Luka hits a 3 to cut it. I believe the 82-74 at that point. I think 82-74. But after that, it was all Boston. They went on an 11-0 run, and Dallas was never heard from again. Fourth quarter was basically garbage time. And Dallas and Boston wins going away. So I think Boston before the series, them in 6 games, and nothing about Game 1 would even remotely alter or change that pick. This is a tough matchup for Dallas. This is a very difficult matchup for Dallas. Boston, looking at Boston. So Boston, from a strategic standpoint, they did 2 things. Number one, they're going to say, hey, Luka cannot beat us by himself. And they did exactly what I thought they would do from a standpoint of strategic. Take away the lobs, okay? Take away the corner threes, and dare Derek Jones and PJ Washington to beat them with above the break 3-point shots. PJ Washington and Derek Jones were like 1 for 5 from the 3-point range in that game. They allowed Luka to play one-on-one basketball. Luka had 30, but only had 1 assist. And again, they took away the corner. They took away the corner threes. Dallas was only 1 for 3 from the corner in this game. So 3 attempts that's nothing. Dallas, remember feasted all corner threes. We've seen them during these playoffs, especially against Oklahoma City. And the Clippers. Minnesota not as much, but that's why they had the lobs, and henceforth they destroyed Minnesota with the lobs. Boston has the personnel to take away both of them, and they did that. So, listen, in terms of adjustments, from an adjustment standpoint, the biggest adjustment Dallas has to make is Kyrie Irving has to be considerably better. 6 for 19, 12 points. That's not going to cut it by any stretch of imagination. I expect he will be better in Game 2. They have guys that they can throw at Kyrie. They have a multitude of guys, defensive players that they can throw at Kyrie. When you talk about Derek White, when you talk about Drew Holiday, the best defensive backcourt in the NBA. They can throw length on Kyrie with Peter Tatum or Brown for that matter. So they have options that they can really, and that to me, that was like Luka's going to get his points regardless of who guards him. He's just that brilliant of a player. They are taking the tack that Minnesota took against Denver. Okay, Joker's going to get his points. We'll try to put bodies on, but more likely he's going to get his points. But we're taking away your second option in terms of Jamal Murray, and Kyrie clearly is their second option. So that was not surprising to me for them to go after Kyrie from that standpoint. Kyrie missed some open shots. Now there were a couple, 2 or 3 open shots that he missed that he normally would make, but for the most part, they didn't give him too much. He got a shot blocked a couple times. They made him take difficult shots, which he's capable of making. He's a great difficult shot maker, as we all know. But they really made him work hard over the course of during this game. Again, Game 2, I expect him to play considerably better. I don't expect him to have another 12-point game, but frankly, it just might not matter because there is a different, there's a major discrepancy in terms of talent with these two teams. And obviously, I haven't even talked about in terms of what Boston has versus what Dallas has. Of course, Boston, if you're looking, there were two things for Boston that were the story to me. Number one, Kristaps Porzingis. Porzingis has scores 20 points in this game, 18 in the first half, had the big first quarter, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and three block shots. 20 points and 6 rebounds for the game. Obviously, his hadn't played in like 38 days. You could be the biggest Porzingis fan in the world, and I expect him to perform at that level in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. And Porzingis, listen, he does not have to play like this for the Celtics to win at that level. All he has to do is to be a threat on the floor with the ability to knock down 3-point shots with his rim protection. That's it. That's all Boston needs him to be as a threat. He doesn't have to score 20 points each game. That's what I'm talking about with this. How Boston, thinking about how talented this Boston team has. They don't just have 2 All-Stars. They have 4. Like Brown and Tatum, obviously, are all NBA caliber players. Brown has been All NBA before. Could have been a case that he could have been All NBA this year. And he's been spectacular in these playoffs. Of course, won MVP of the conference finals and was the best player on the floor in Game 1, to be frankly with you, on both ends of the floor. Only thing he couldn't do is make free throws. Otherwise, he would have had 27, 28 points. But he was on both as a two-way player in Game 1. He was absolutely spectacular with the shot blocking, with the defense, some of the defensive plays he made on Luka. The energy just all around, made timely shots with a couple timely 3-point shots. Which is all over the place defensively. He, to me, and this game, scored 22 points on 12 shots. Porzingis and Jrue Holiday are all-stars. Okay, Porzingis is a guy who's kind of gotten lost. We kind of gotten lost in terms of how talented he is, like, because he hasn't been healthy. Like, that's the number one reason. He has not been healthy, and he's played on some bad teams. Okay. But that guy, his talent level is undeniable. He's basically 19-8, almost 20-8 for his career. Like he made the All-Star team one time, but he has, and this year he played at an All-Star level. But the amount of talent is so deep in the NBA, you could easily get left off. Jrue Holiday, we all know, was the second best player on the team that won a championship 3 years ago. He is one of the best two-way players in the league and has been for the last 5 years now, and legitimately one of the top 25 to 30 players in the league. Legitimately. So they have 4 All-Stars, and I'm not even including, some of the nice pieces they have, Pritchard, Hauser, Al Horford. This is a loaded Celtic team, and you combine that with Tatum and Brown playing the best basketball as a twosome of their careers. Mazzulla having another year to kind of mold this into his team, and even with the threes, and then sometimes they go crazy with the threes. But even in that game, some of those threes, they got great looks. They had great looks. Especially in the first half of that game. There wasn't too many Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown step backs, shooting step backs. A lot of it was off the flow, off ball movement and passes. With some of those 3-point shots that they take, I think Tatum hit one step back, but for the most part, it was a lot of that some of the threes were off ball movement and dishing, and dribble penetration. So, I think that looking at this Boston team, I think they're the most talented team since the 18 Golden State Warriors. Like, I really think that this is the most talented team since the Golden State Warriors. So, Dallas again has more than his hands full in this series. Now, if with Dallas, obviously Kyrie has to play better. That goes without saying. But Dallas has got to make above the break 3-point shots. Derrick Jones Jr. and PJ Washington. They've got to make those dudes have to make shots to have Dallas have any chance in this series. They're going to get there because Boston can't take away everything. Okay, they can't take away everything. They take away the lobs. They can defend the corner threes, which during the regular season they were one of the best in the league at defending corner threes. When you dig through the numbers, but they can't. But those guys are going to have other shots, especially if Kyrie gets to plays better, which we expect that he will. He's going to draw some attention. There will be open shots to be made for some of those Dallas role players. Hardy, Josh Green, I can include that. Those guys, those role players are going to have to make shots. 9 assists on 35 baskets is not going to cut it for Dallas. Luka only had 1 assist in the game. Again, similar to Jokic, you want to make him a scorer versus making him a playmaker. You'd rather have him have 35 and 5. You'd rather have him have 35, 35 and 5. You'll take 35 and 5 versus say 28 and 12 or 28 and 14 or 30 and 14. Now Luka could get 45 and 10. He's just that good. And 12, like he's that good. But you want to make him a scorer. He can score 50, by the way. He absolutely can score 50. But you want to keep his assist totals down as low as possible because that means other guys are not getting involved. That means that Dallas goes back to being what they once were when they're not good or when we've criticized them, and that's that one-on-one basketball. That's Luka and Kyrie doing a lot of one-on-one stuff, the ball sticking, very minimum player movement and things of that nature. And again, if you're Dallas, again, I'm not one that really overreacts to game one victories by the home team. Boston is the better team. They have home court. They should have won. They did is what they were supposed to do. But there are some matchup issues for sure in this series. And here's the bottom line about the Celtics too. In this, these playoffs, the Celtics are 5-0 when Jason Tatum shoots under 40%. What that lets you know is they don't have to have Tatum and Brown be dominant. Luka and Kyrie have to be dominant. That's the difference. Period. It's the difference. And they don't have a Porzingis. Dallas doesn't have a Porzingis. They don't have a guy that can go out there, get you 20 block shots and take over a game. Porzingis was the best player on the floor in the first quarter. Period. By far, he was the best player on the floor in the first quarter. Maybe probably in the first half. Before Brown got it going. So it's going to be interesting from a standpoint of see what adjustments Dallas does make. Again, I don't think that lob game is going to work in this series. I just don't see Gafford and Lively were combined minus 25. I think it could be now. I think that for Gafford, if you're Gafford and Lively, I think your best bet is probably to pound the offensive boards. That's probably going to be their best. The most damage they can do is probably with is hurting Boston with offensive boards and second chance points. I don't think those lobs are going to be there. Certainly not running plays for those two guys, but I think blocking shots, things of that nature, defensively blocking shots, things of that nature. I think Lively can help recover. We've seen him do that. We've seen him do that and play strong defense from that standpoint. We've seen him doing on Ant Edwards last series, a couple on switches. And speaking of switches, I thought Horford, Porzingis, especially Horford, were great on switches. They really held up well on switches, especially on Luka. Luka was 1 for 8 against Horford on a switch. Was 1 for 8 against Horford on the switches. When he guarded him on switches. So I thought that was a big thing, a big factor in terms of their defense against Dallas. If Dallas have a chance, if Luka gets a switch on Horford or Porzingis, he has to absolutely cook them. He has to cook them. He has to destroy them. If he gets a switch on Horford or Luka, there was one play where, and this is how versatile Boston is in terms of their defense. They actually got a switch from Brown to Tatum. So that's so there's no drop off from that standpoint, from a defensive standpoint. You go from Tatum to Brown or Brown to Tatum. That's how loaded Boston is when it comes to being able to be as versatile on defense. And the bottom line is Boston is going to use Tatum to guard the center. And that, again, those with Porzingis back and with that rim protection, those lob plays are just not going to be there. I don't see a situation where they might have caught. They may have one lob in that game that I remember, but for the most part, the damage that Dallas is going to have to do, they're going to have to make those. They're going to have to make those above the break threes because Boston again is great at taking away the corner threes. So again, we'll see what happens with game 2. I think game 2 will be a very close game. Going down to the wire. I think Boston wins game 2. And it was a close game too. Kyrie will play better, but I think Boston, frankly, just has too much as far as they are too deep and talented of a team for Dallas to overcome. And listen, I think Dallas is very good. I think Dallas is going to have some moments in this series. So Luka will win one game by himself where he goes for 40, 45, and 10 or something like that. He'll have one of those performances, and maybe Boston has another performance where they throw up on themselves with going 8 for 35 from the 3-point line. I don't see that happening 4 times though, or even 3 times for that matter. So at most, I still say that this is probably a 6 game series at most. Well, the gift of content that just keeps on giving. It's like Christmas every day. If you have somebody who likes to create content and race talk, you like talk on, sex talk, you like talk on it just covers this Caitlin Clark just covers all of it. All of it. And the thing about it, so I'm glad I recorded. I'm so glad I recorded today because this came across the wire a couple hours ago that Caitlin Clark will indeed not be on the 24 Olympic team, which is coming up very soon. This is next month, matter of fact, over in Paris. She's been left off. USA Today, Christine Brennan said snubbed, and then Christine Brennan wrote an article just basically ripping USA Basketball for not taking advantage of an opportunity to promote their sport and so on and so on. Here's the thing about that before I get to some of the discourse and some of the media coverage on Caitlin Clark. On merit, on skill, on just the first question I ask myself when I see something like this, does she deserve to be on a team from a standpoint? Is she amongst the best 12 to 15 players in the world? And the answer to that is no. She's not amongst the best 12 to 15 players in the world. So from that standpoint, she didn't deserve to be on the team. Now, there's a case. If you want to go to the marketing, branding, growing the game route, you can go that route. If she were on that team, there would be all eyes definitely would be on her. The women's game would get way more attention. We understand that, but you got to be, the WNBA is in a tough spot here because I've heard at least Leslie said she absolutely should have been on the team. And there are some reports that there was some kind of infighting amongst the top ranks, the powers that be, that wanted her on the team versus people who says, let's pump the brakes here. But there was a report that said that one of the reasons why she wasn't on the team was because of the outrage that her fans that USA Basketball would receive if she was barely playing. So there's 2 things about that. Number one, what that tells me is that this was a brutal decision, that this was absolutely a tough decision for USA Basketball, that they kind of went back and forth. That's number one. Number 2 is from a standpoint of merit and basketball skill and just deserving to be on a team, that she shouldn't have been on the team because you're not talking about any other Olympian not getting playing time if you feel like they deserve to be on a team. Like you're just not. Like if you believe someone has to be on the team, you'll think that they're going to get that they're going to get at least enough minutes to where no one's going to complain about a lack of playing time, or you're going to let it play out depending on the matchups and how she plays and what have you. So I give USA basketball some credit somewhat for not like bowing down to the pressure that that um, there's a push for Clayton Clark from Clayton Clark fans and even some certain parts of the media who feel like Clayton Clark should be given just everything, and who feel like Caitlin Clark should be, we should just bow down for Caitlin Clark at every turn. She should be on the Olympic team. I'm sure she's going to get strong push to be on the All-Star game. In the All-Star game, I'm sure she's going to get there's that momentum is happening. At a rapid rate, and we are constantly being reminded of how important Caitlin Clark is to the league. And basically, there are people out there who think Caitlin Clark is bigger than the league based off popularity and based off, ratings and things of that nature. Here's the thing, right? And I want to dispel, we need to dispel like facts from feelings. Does Caitlin Clark have an impact on the women's game, had a dramatic impact on the women's game? Of course. Last night, she's in D.C. There were 20,000 people sold out to watch two teams that were combined like 3-20 play. A competitive game that went down to the wire in which she had 30 points and put on the show. By the way, no one has said, despite the fact that she struggled with turnovers and shooting percentage, no one has said that she can't play. Haven't heard that. Okay, but she struggled from that standpoint. But she's getting better. She's starting to incrementally put things together and figure some things out. And she's a rookie. And we all said that a lot of people, Diana Taurasi, said that this could be a tough transition from the short turnaround and also in terms of the level of competition, period. So all these things can be true. But there again, there's a course of this country, media and otherwise, that want to push Caitlin Clark to the forefront, or want to create this narrative that Caitlin Clark, that the WNBA is nothing without Caitlin Clark, that the previous 26 years of WNBA have been rendered meaningless in terms of what that league has been building until Caitlin Clark has gotten here. And that is completely it's not the case whatsoever. We can't be dismissive of this other great rookie class that Caitlin Clark is a part of. Is she at the forefront as far as notoriety? Without question. But is she the only one that should be getting paid attention to? No. And I'm glad that we've had a media that there's been a faction of media that have called that out. Now, here's the thing about the numbers and ratings, right? So 2023, this is sportspromedia.com. So if you want to check out the numbers, this is where I got this from. If you want to check it out for yourself. This is dated September 14th, 2023. The WNBA scored its most watched regular season in 21 years, with combined viewership across ABC, CBS, ESPN, and ESPN2 up 21% over the previous campaign. Caitlin Clark at this point was in college. She was not yet in the league in 2023, as we all know. The WNBA broadcast averaged 627,000 viewers on ABC, making it the most viewed regular season on the network in 11 years. The All-Star game, the most watched in 16 years. Okay. The regular season, the WNBA had a successful season outside of TV audiences, with regular season attendance going up 16% compared to the previous year. The highest total attendance across the season in 13 years. Okay. Social media handles went up 96% versus the 2022 campaign. Digital apps up 400%. league pass package was up 257%. All of this was occurred before Caitlin Clark ever stepped foot on a WNBA court. I bring this up because, again, there is this narrative that the league before Caitlin Clark was drafted in late May was falling apart, and basically that the league was going to be out of business if Caitlin Clark doesn't come along. That is not the case. She's not bigger than the league. She's not. And it's been interesting with the media coverage, right? So there have been kind of three factions of media. You got the Johnny come latelys who stand out, Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp, who want you to basically bow down to Caitlin Clark with the red carpet treatment and kiss her ass at every turn. That's what they want you to do. You hear the word protect Caitlin Clark, protect Caitlin. Like, what the fuck does that even mean, protect Caitlin Clark? And basically what they'll bring up is money, 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 money. So they're appeasing, the racial aspect of this, they're appeasing to an audience that, again, doesn't know too much about the WNBA, because there are a ton of other superstars and stars in the WNBA, and the WNBA has been building for, again, 26 years. They're appeasing to an audience that I guarantee you, number one, is not only pushing up, promoting Caitlin Clark, but tearing down black women as well. Because you hear the jealousy of Caitlin Clark. You hear that, players getting accused of trying to hurt her, players getting accused of being jealous. All of this coincide. All of this is connected. And when you talk about the tearing down of black women, there's absolute currency in the tearing down of black women. So if I say that, hey, Caitlin's going to be great, she's going to be great for the league, she'll be rookie of the year, I think she's going to be one of the greatest of all time, that's one thing. But if I also, on the other hand, say, these women should be grateful for Caitlin Clark, and so on and so on, that's another thing. Or there's jealousy or they're jealous of her, that's another thing. That's the tearing down of black women. Or that foul was out of control. The Chicago Tribune Sun-Times had some shit about saying that the foul, that would be assault on the street. And basically, if they were in the street, that would be assault. The foul that Kennedy Carter had on Clinton. That Kennedy Carter did to Caitlin Clark last weekend. So, that again, you have a media contributing to that. You have media contributing to that. So that's their faction of the media. Then you have a faction of the media that is not having it whatsoever. The faction of the media that's been covering the WNBA for a while or been following it for a while, whether it be Elle Duncan, Carrie Champion, Jemele Hill, Monica McKnight, that's basically saying, you know what, Johnny come latelys, you just got to the party. You don't know shit about the WNBA. Like, let us tell you what the WNBA is really all about. Let us tell you all these things that have been built before Caitlin Clark got here, that are happening in the WNBA, the growth of our game, and what have you. Let us turn this into a nuanced conversation, because I'm telling you, all you need to know about the different factions of media coverage is, if you don't hear nuance when you're hearing conversation about Caitlin Clark, chances are they are coming from the Johnny come latelys. Because there's minimum, the comment that Barkley made, the comment that LeBron made about the lack of, hating on Caitlin Clark or being petty towards her. It's not a nuanced conversation. That's not a nuanced narrative, or that's not a nuanced a take or opinion. Thirdly, you have a faction of the media that believes that's not necessarily shitting on black women within the WNBA, but they believe that Caitlin Clark's popularity and the ratings that she brings should merit her some things that she probably doesn't deserve like a trip to the Olympics. She doesn't deserve to be on a team, period. She doesn't. Now, if she was on the team, I could understand it from a standpoint of what they're trying to do, but that doesn't mean she doesn't deserve to be on there. That doesn't mean she deserves to be on there. And when you say she got snubbed, as in USA Today, Christine Brennan said, that means you believe that she deserved to be on there. No, she didn't. She didn't get snubbed. She didn't deserve. I mean, she's not amongst the 12 to 15 best players in the world. Period. Point blank. And there will be other opportunities for her. She's only 22 years old. So imagine her 4 years from now. Let's say she is an all-star. Let's say she's an all-WNBA caliber player. Let's say she possibly is a championship player. Who knows? That would be, I mean, that version of Caitlin Clark on the Olympic team, and at that point, there'll be some players who are through age and who just won't be on there. Taurasi, some other women probably won't be on there because from an age standpoint. She might be at the head. She might be, along with Asia Wilson, and be at the head of the circle. One of the best players on there, possibly. That would be like, you talk about the attention and all that. That's and I think the 28 Olympics is going to be in LA too. I mean, the 28 Olympics will be, and I believe the 28 Olympics will be in LA. Yeah, the 28 Olympics are going to be in LA. So that's even a bigger. I mean, if she stays on pace to be, she doesn't have to be the best player in the world. If she's even close to being an all-star, if she's putting up numbers, and she absolutely will be on the team in 28 for sure, and that will be an explosion of media attention and viewership for the and growth for the game from that standpoint in 2028. It's not her turn. 2024 is not her turn. And again, I give them credit for not falling under the pressure of feeling like they have to just appease Caitlin Clark at every turn. Like, no, you got to earn. Like, this has to be earned. I understand privilege is powerful, especially in this country, especially white privilege in this country is powerful. But this is where I think this would be the best. I think this is going to end up being the best thing for the WNBA. The Olympics will be fine. They're fine. The Olympics, they'll be fine. But I think this will be the best thing for her, to be honest with you. She'll get the summer off. She'll basically get the summer off. And let's be honest, if she were on that team, I can only imagine what that locker room would be like, knowing you have somebody on there that does not deserve to be on there. I think that probably played a major factor. Those other women who have had enormous success winning gold medals and what have you, that would not go. That I promise you, that did not go over well. Would not go over well in that locker room. Who won the week? Hey, the WNBA. Like, I'm talking about it for like the third straight podcast or the second straight podcast. The WNBA they've gotten a ton of publicity. Maybe some of it they don't like, but this was all a part of it. Once everybody started promoting Caitlin Clark to this, to this extent, you have to get the race talk. Everything comes with it. You can't have it. We're not going to just do this. Talk about the basketball standpoint. No. We're going to really get into what the WNBA is all about, the physicality, the history of the WNBA, and what have you. And that's another thing too. Let's be fair about the WNBA versus the NBA. The NBA has been around for like 77 years now. WNBA been around for 27 years. Okay, so the NBA's 50th anniversary coincided with the inauguration of the WNBA back in 1997, right? If you take the NBA right from 1947 to 71 or 74, It was 47 to yeah, to 71. Look what the NBA was in the 70s. They were not. It was not like the NBA was not popping like that amongst the domestically in terms of the major sports. Baseball was bigger, boxing was bigger, horse racing probably was bigger, to be honest with you. Football for sure was bigger. Okay. Look at the first 27 years of the NBA. The NBA in the 80s had tape delay finals that were on tape delay. It did not start, the NBA did not start popping, let's be honest, until the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird coincided with Michael Jordan. And everything took off. It's only been on the NBA has only been popping for about 35 years, to be perfectly honest with you. You can go from like 85 up until this point. 40 years. Okay, let's say 40 years. So you have to take that in consideration when we talk about where the WNBA is right now. And again, it's not. Caitlin Clark is a big part of that will be a big part of WNBA moving forward. She is not the sole reason why this sport is growing or will be great. There are a number of great players. There are a number of great things happening in the WNBA that will continue to happen. Caitlin Clark is just part of that. Just keep that in mind. Let you go with just one real thought. The absolute circus that's going on with the Los Angeles Lakers. There's been a couple of reports recently that picked up momentum that Danny Hurley, who, of course, the great coach out of UConn, coaching the back-to-back national championships, will indeed be the next head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. You've heard some of the numbers go as high as $100 million as far as the expected deal. Now, this is interesting from a standpoint of, number one, it's the Lakers. Number two, you have a lot, possibility of LeBron being a free agent, the possibility of drafting Bronny James. Also with the possibility, and more importantly, we've kind of been given a sense that JJ Redick was going to be the head coach. Lakers were going to wait till after the finals to make an announcement. And the reason why they were waiting so long was they were waiting for the finals to be over. Of course, JJ Redick is calling finals along with Mark Breen and Doris Burke for ESPN, ABC, and what have you. This is a part of the LeBron Lakers situation that is a circus, and this is the part now. Listen, would I rather have, as a Laker fan, would I rather have Danny Hurley coach my team than not Bobby, of course, but about to say Bobby Hurley, but then JJ Redick? Absolutely. So I'll take a guy who has won back-to-back national championships over someone who has never coached in the NBA as an assistant, let alone a head coach. But I think that it tells me that there is some dysfunction amidst in the Laker organization right now. They're not all on the same page. For sure, over the course of the last month, we have been maybe not the last month, but the last 2 or 3 weeks, it almost was set in stone to me that when you listen to all the reports that JJ Redick was going to be the head coach. And something clearly happened amongst the Laker brass, or within, where something changed. Clearly, something changed because Danny Hurley's name just came out of nowhere. No one was talking about Danny Hurley up until this past week. No one. So that tells me that everybody's not on the same page within the Laker organization. And again, this has shit show circus potential written all over it for this upcoming season, for this upcoming offseason for the Los Angeles Lakers. And we've seen the Lakers, they can do shit shows over the last decade. I mean, again, I know they won a championship, they got LeBron, but the Buss family, they can do some stuff that it could be a circus at times. Started with happened with Magic and Rob Pelinka in that situation. Even the recruitment, Kawhi Leonard, nothing never go. It's never smooth sailing, quiet, make the simple move. No, that doesn't. That the Lakers love their attention, and they kind of turned it a little bit. They turned a little bit. They kind of had some Dallas Cowboys type feel to it. To be honest with you, like we just got to a point to where we are, we're just kind of seeking attention, doing stuff making moves that might not be solid basketball moves. Again, I don't see in today's game, today's age, with how powerful players are and how much money players are making, that a college guy, even as accomplished as Danny Hurley, is going to come in and command the respect of NBA guys in 2024. I think we're past that college. Like, I think you have to have some either assistant coaching or head coaching experience in the NBA to navigate that, to navigate the respect of these players. We'll see what happens. Again, we've heard reports that an offer maybe of excess of $100 million could be in place. We'll see how long this takes. I think that, probably they'll probably make this decision more than likely when the finals are over. But who knows? You never know what the Lakers are doing or what the Lakers are thinking. That's going to wrap it up for this latest edition of the Real Deal Podcast. This episode will be out later on this evening, early tomorrow morning. So stay tuned for that. Have a great rest of your weekend. So long.